Good evening. My name is Turner Bitton. I'm the executive director here at Westview Media. Tonight we are joined by Mohamed Baayd, who's running for Salt Lake City School Board. Welcome. I'm so glad you've been able to join us tonight.
Excellent. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad. Thank you for the opportunity to be able to join and be able to introduce myself. And also I would like to thank everyone that is currently logged in and listening, and contributing or listening and sharing with friends. I applaud you for doing your due diligence to find out about the candidates you're about to vote for. Thank you.
Thank you. And for folks that are watching live, we know that tonight is also a vice presidential debate. We had to reschedule our original conversation because we had an unfortunate hurricane in the state of Utah that I don't think any of us saw coming. To get started, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background and that kind of thing?
As you all know, my name is Mohamed. I'm originally from Morocco, born and raised in Morocco, in a small oasis village located in the south of Morocco. Very small village, just absolutely laid back, homes made out of adobe, very simple life. There I was raised by very wonderful parents. And not only that, also by the whole village. Basically, I'm a product of a village in the south of Morocco. And my origin is a Berber, and Berbers are the first inhabitants of Morocco. And so I had the opportunity of coming to the United States, and that was in 1999. And my first arrival was at Walt Disney World, there where I worked at Epcot Center as a cultural representative. And after my term was over there, then I moved to California. And there I embraced my journey of starting schools in American schools, basically. And then following a year in California, moved to Champaign, Illinois, and there continued schooling while roommating with one of my professors from Morocco. And after that, moved to Utah and continued schooling at BYU. And there I graduated with bachelor's degree in anthropology, sociocultural emphasis in 2005. And there I met my wonderful wife, whom, we've been married 16 years now. We are blessed with 3 beautiful, busy kids, 2 teenage girls and 1 little boy. You can see how my life is busy so far. And so I am also a veteran. And so after graduating from BYU, we moved to Wisconsin, and there I was working as a merchandise analyst at Kohl's corporate office, and then joined the United States Navy and served 3 years and 8 months. And after separation from service, we came back here to Salt Lake City, Utah, and we've been here since 2010. And it's been a journey, and here I am right now, continuing trying to find ways that I can continue to serve the community and the wonderful families that have welcomed me with open arms when I came first time to this country, to families who mentored me and showed me the true generosity of Americans that I have met. And the Americans that I know are my family members now. And the least they could do is ensure that our new generations are up and ready to continue to build on that dream, for sure.
Well, thank you very much. And Normally I would go into your race about about the school board, but we actually got an audience question about your time in the Navy. So I'm going to start there, and then we'll get into your school board race. But
Yes.
um, Christine actually submitted a question ahead of tonight's event, and she asked, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but she
Yep.
mentioned that your experience on the school board will be a little bit different than the Navy in that you'll be part of a group of people as opposed to a kind of structured chain of command.
Mm-hmm.
And she just wanted to know what about being a veteran will help you in this job, and what do you think as far as how you'll approach your role as a school board member?
Well, Christine, thank you so much for that question. I wish I could see you face to face now. um, One of the amazing thing I have learned in my life is having that opportunity of serving in the United States Navy. Yes, it is correct. There is a chain of command follow-up. However, when we are on the ground, we are working together as a team to make sure that everything that we do is actually in accordance and in relationship to what we are, and to the goal basically we're trying to accomplish. Out there in the Navy, you cannot work just because someone said do this and you do it. You are also encouraged, to be creative in how you can come up with solutions within the administrative aspect of the Navy. I'll give you an example. I worked as a religious program specialist, and I worked with the chaplains, from different backgrounds. And while working out there, we were entrusted as well with coming up with the budget, ensuring that the budget is always met, ensuring that the yearly budget is set to meet the needs, and also the reporting is done properly. So that way next year, when we are waiting for the next funding, we are not losing money. Instead, we are working on finding ways that we can either maintain the same budget or just get some more, hopefully. But this thing here, this action, I'm not the only one that can do it. There are so many branches here working together to come up with a proper and sound budget. Now, with the school board, it is such an amazing opportunity to see these 7 entrusted members who've been elected to the office, and they are there basically to represent a large population in Salt Lake City. And not just to represent them, but also to serve their loved ones, and those are their children. And the way I look at it is like, if I am sitting there with other board members, we may differ in so many things, of course, we can't never be 100% on everything, but the ability to be able to be diplomatic in finding ways to discuss alternative, finding ways that we can also solicit help from the stakeholders, finding ways that we can build that solid bridge of relationship and trust between school board members and the superintendent. So those are all common things. So this is not going to be this. I absolutely understand that this is not a position where it's just going to be, whatever the superintendent said is what's going to be happening. No, I am in this because I know I will be entrusted with the ability and the authority to be, to do what is right, not to be in it, but not to be there to be politically correct, but to be there and be as who I am. when I first met people and speak as a father, as an immigrant, as a minority, as a husband, and as a citizen who has adopted this country as my own and fell in love with it. And I will do everything that I could to make sure that it continues to be wonderful. And so, Christine, I hope I answered that question for you, but if I'm not, please follow up with a question, okay?
Thank you. So I'm going to move us a little bit back to my standard questions, and then we have some additional audience ones. But for those that are watching, in your opinion, what is the most important role that the school board plays?
School board, it is very interesting. A lot of times when people hear about school board, there is this general idea that a school board is just like a body of individuals. They meet weekly and they, under the guidance of the superintendent, they work together and they make decisions basically. However, this period, since I started running for this office, I have learned a great deal about the school board. A lot of times, simple things are the things that actually have a great effect in the society and in a human's life. And a school board, it may seem just a very simple position, but to be honest with you, I am very humbled with how much work goes behind the scenes so that school board members meet in there, discuss it in public. Those are not the only thing that are being discussed, but behind the scenes, there is so much work. School board members are like a bridge between the stakeholders and the superintendent and the students and the parents and the teachers. We are the ones who will actually go hand in hand and be out there in the field, meet with the teachers, meet with superintendents, meet with the principals, meet with community leaders, learn about those communities. So we are the ones who are actually out there living it, experiencing it. And not only that, also we are the ones who are interested in building a great relationship with the families and with the staff and with the teachers. Because if we do that actually, and that's my hope and my dream, when I am to be elected to the office, that's gonna be one of the most thing that I'm gonna focus on for sure. I already prepared my wife. I told her, this is gonna take a little bit of a time, we're not paid for this, but be ready. She's like, I know your passion for school, go for it. So my dream is when I am in there, I will be out there full on. It's going to be a very busy time, the first couple or 3 months, learning everything, attending schools, meeting with principals, meeting teachers, and finding ways that I can build that bridge of trust. It's going to take a little while. But one thing I know for sure is I am not afraid to go on there and be there in the field. And I am so excited, beyond explanation. I don't know how to even explain it to you, but I am so excited once I'm given the opportunity to be out there. So you see, school board members are a solid bridge between the teachers, principals, students, parents, and superintendent and stakeholders and the other politicians. So you can see, so we are entrusted with so much, and but I feel very, very excited about it, and there is no better time to be there than now.
Thank you. You mentioned that you have kids and that you've been in the education is something that's really important to you. Was there a moment or an event that made you decide, yes, I'm going to run for office and I'm going to run for the school board?
That is a very good question. I have three wonderful, smart kids. And I always tell them they are smart because of their mom. And, then my wife glares at me like, you're smart as I am, or smarter. I know. So basically, we just joke about that. So I have these wonderful kids. The young one, he is currently going to Hawthorne Elementary. And then I have my two daughters. One is at Clayton and the other one is at East. Uh, and for me, having that honor and the opportunity of going into a classroom and co-oping and being able to sit down out there with the teacher and figuring out how we can like introduce little things to help these little ones learn more about the new cultures, being able to be there as well and just see the excitement of the kids when I come in and I'm dressed like in the Moroccan outfit and teaching them about the Moroccan outfit, or like coming out there and teaching them like a greeting way of in Arabic. And then next day, every time they see me, Salamu alaikum, and those are just like little things that I saw out there. So what has pushed me into making sure that I run for this office? I am the first person in my family's generation to ever go to college and to earn a bachelor's degree. And not only that, I am also the first in my family's generation and in my village to go and earn a master's degree in an American school. So you can see, and my parents over here, they would not be able to read one single word in the sign, when I'm driving or so. They can count, but they cannot read. And you can only imagine the challenge that they have in their life, not being able to navigate life with its simplicity. And my father would always say, son, I will take everything I have and put it down, but I never want you to give up on education. Never. And I remember as I was coming to the United States, he had $400 left in his account. He took it out, gave me his nice watch he had and nice shoes. And he said, son, here is this nice watch that I have and these nice shoes. This watch so you can watch your time where you spend it. These shoes so you can walk to places that will continue to build you, to represent our heritage. And I'm so grateful for those opportunities and that advice that up to these days continue to ring within me. The reason I say this because when I came to US and I had to start school, I had my associate degree in English literature and Arabic literature, but I could not transfer any of them here to US. So I had to start from ground zero. And you can only imagine how much work that takes. But the important thing is I worked tirelessly to be where I am now. And being able to run for this office and having that opportunity of serving, and especially as a minority who came from a marginalized background, and knowing here in our district, as we go west, we have a large, diverse community who are unfortunately marginalized in so many ways. And imagine me sitting down with the children in there, the kids, the students, the parents, speaking their language, French, Arabic, Berber, whatever it might be, and just being able to relate to them on a personal level and be able to understand their concerns. You can only imagine what kind of a treasure chest we're about to open of knowledge that has not been tapped into. So You see, I have, I wish I have a magic ball right now and just like touch it and it'll tell you exactly what my brain is thinking. Um, but it is, yeah. Uh, I hope I made my point there clear in terms of why I'm running for this office.
We can definitely hear your passion, and I appreciate you sharing all of these personal details. I think it helps
Yeah.
folks who are watching. It certainly helped me understand who you are as a
Thank
person.
you. Thank you.
You mentioned multiple languages that you speak, and that actually segues really well into a question that we received from Rebecca. Again, I'm kind of paraphrasing, but Rebecca asked, you speak a lot of different languages, and she wants to know if you think public schools should be teaching immersion and extra languages, or if they should be focusing on English.
Rebecca, thank you so much for that question. What makes this country beautiful is the fact I look at it, it's like a beautiful salad with multi different colors of vegetables. And you can just imagine, it just looks so delicious. That's how I view America. And this country, at first, when it started with people from all walks of life. And yes, the forefathers came in, and English is the mother tongue of America. But I am a firm believer in the importance of teaching other languages to our kids. There is the stigma in the world right now that just says, oh, Americans only speak English. And I want to correct that. I want to make sure to let them know that no, that is not the reality. Come, see all these programs we have, Spanish, French, Arabic, and Japanese, Chinese, and the list goes on and on and on. The reason I am so adamant about the importance of learning languages because we live in the time and the world of globalization. Our kids, one day when they grow up, their jobs might not be here in the US. Or even if they are here in the US, they're gonna be virtually working with people from all walks of life. What an amazing blessing when you have the opportunity that you travel to the country and you speak their language. Do you know how much appreciation Americans really get from that? My wife, born, raised American, Caucasian American, she goes to Morocco now, she gets better deals than I do. Why? Because she learned to speak Moroccan Arabic. She even gets away from getting tickets from police officers. There is no way for me I would do that because she is American and they appreciate it. Do you know one time, the first time my wife and I went to Morocco in 2004 when we just got married, and I was there doing my senior thesis. And after 4 months, we were coming back to US and we went through the customs in Casablanca. And my wife said two simple words, shukran, salamu alaikum. And you know what that officer did? He looked at me straight in the face and he said, you damn better make sure you take care of this lady. If you ever mess around with her, I will kill you. Just like that. This is the passion and the appreciation, the fact that she spoke only 2 words, let alone now she speaks the language. So it is very important for us to know, to not just take English on its own, because English, it is amazing, it is worldwide, it is known, everyone is passionate about it, but let's add a little more of spices to that. Let's take some little bit of olive oil in there, a little bit of vinegar, which like represent different languages from Middle East, from South America, and from Asia. There is nothing that's not going to hurt us at all. It actually just going to make us even smarter, and not only smarter, but also more humble and appreciated, because people will be able to understand what we are telling them about our country, about our lives, about our journey, about our challenges. That's how we relate with people, by speaking their languages.
Thank you. The next question I have, there's two that were submitted, and I feel that they're close enough that I can probably combine them. But I received two different questions. One was from Zippy, and one I received via text message, so I don't know who it was from, but both of them essentially asked, and I'm paraphrasing, but they wanted to know how, if you're elected, how you would work with both marginalized communities and communities of color to bring them into your work at the school board.
I am a, the marginalized communities, the minorities, very dear to me. Why? Because I was there once. It was very challenging to not see equity in terms of education. It was very challenging not see equity in terms of transportation. It's very challenging not seeing equity in terms of the cleanliness of the space we go to school to. It was very challenging to see the type of programs and the education level we're receiving that is different from the other areas that are privileged. So for the minorities and the marginalized brothers and sisters and their parents, my dream is to break that barrier of privileged and less privileged. Let's not put State Street or I-15 as a wall that divides East where it's privileged and West where it's not privileged. The way we can do this is working really hard. It's going to take an arm and a leg. It's not going to be a simple process. It's going to take a lot of work, a lot of diplomacy, and a lot of personal experiences, and a lot of stories that I'm going to learn from people straight who will sit down and talk with me, and bring those over to those who are in charge of the budget, those who are in charge of funding, and trying to tell them and let them know the real examples of what's going on out there. Talk to them as a person who has lived there and see how we can make those funding properly distributed and make sure that the areas that are marginalized, that they are actually receiving a fair share of the budget, of the funding, to make sure that they are well taken care of. So you see, funding is one of them. And that I can't wait. I really can't wait. The other one is safety. I am all for the importance of safety. Now, let me paint a picture for you. Nowadays in the high schools, we do see police officers heavily armed, and they are in high schools. My children are minorities, especially my daughter, who is at high school, East High School. I go there and many times I talk with her, and she feels very intimidated every time she sees the police officer walking by, heavily armed. And I asked her, why are you intimidated? And of course, she refers me back to all the challenges of injustice that is taking place currently in our society. And She knows that that police officer is amazing, such a nice man, because I talked to him and it was such a fantastic relationship, just talking with him. But at the same time, deep inside, there is something that we can't just reach and grab and remove when you are a person of color or a person of minority or immigrant. There are certain things within us that's just like so hard to just come and paint over and move on. So in the schools, I am for safety. I want those who are listening right now, please do not misunderstand that I'm saying I am not for safety. I am against police officers or so. Absolutely not. I am for safety of our students, teachers, and staff. And I am for the safety of schools. However, let's think about this again. We go to the West Side where there is a marginalized community. We got so many refugees out there who just escaped wars. We have so many families who are like, you know, they moved from another countries, were like running away from gangs and so. So for them, seeing weapons or seeing an officer that is heavily armed is only a post-traumatic stress disorder generator. And these children, we owe it to them, to their families, that they will be very comfortable and self-confident and not afraid going to school and learn, just as any other kids. And so these are the two things. The third thing that I would love to see getting better is how we could, as Salt Lake City School District, work together with some broadband companies and be able to reach out to families who do not have access to broadband in their homes. This is a day and age of virtual learning, and we owe it to those families to have internet at home. We owe it to those families to have everything that they need to be able to learn, as my children do. We really owe it to them. These families, these children have amazing talents, and we just need to tap in there to open that treasure of knowledge. And we can only do it if we pave that path. Let's work with other, entities, other stakeholders in finding a way that we can actually supply this benefit to the families who are not able to pay for it, who do not have the ability to even have it be at their homes. And we owe that to them. So for me, these are the things that I look at. These are like basic foundational things, because by doing these, actually, we're going to be able to reach out to so many things. Students are going to have more confidence. Wherever they go to school, they'll learn. Schools close, they're at home, they'll learn. Equity, they will see more fundings, more programs at their schools. Programs that will give them like a vast array of opportunities to choose from, not just be like stuck and related to one curriculum that you are given and you're not given an opportunity to really branch out. And we need those programs to be out there, available to those areas as well. We owe it to them. We are a democratic country. And so let's make that happen.
Thank you. Along similar lines, Brenna submitted a question asking what kind of supports that you would be looking at for investing in special education or for education for folks with disabilities or learning differences.
Yes, I have my sister-in-law. She has a Down syndrome, and they lived here in Salt Lake. They moved over to Riverton. But when they were here in Salt Lake, it was a little bit of a challenge navigating the program. Where can we go and find out direct information that we need? One shop stop. And for me, I would like, as a school board member, I would like my information to be available and everyone should know about it in my district. That way, or also in my website that I'm working on, I'd like to have, I'm gonna have like a one-stop stop. Like let's say, for example, for special ed, you know, go in here and you answer questions and you move on. And there you find the contact information you need and who you should contact. It is a very complicated system. Schools is not a small thing, it is big. And now in regards to, that's what my in-laws found. It took them a long time to be able to figure that out. And I wish there is a place where you could just go directly and know this is where you find, this is the place, and it takes you through steps. Now, in regards to special eds, the teachers, the staff, the directors are doing amazing job, amazing job. As a matter of fact, when I talk to the director who is currently in charge of this special ed, I can just hear in her voice the passion for what she has, the passion she has for these kids. You know, she's not just looking at him as just, you know, another kid here, we need to help him, teach him and get moving on. No, she's looking at him as a citizens of a society, and they deserve equal treatment as any other student. So in terms of special ed, I'm also especially has been put to test during this COVID times. We have schools shut down. It is challenging. But in this special ed program, we have several schools and programs that are open with the small groups. And the purpose of them, of course, is because the parents can only do so much. Parents are there to show them their love, but you need a specialized trained person who will be able to help them, educate them, and build them up. And so, and I am very impressed and very grateful for this, for the school district, what they are doing really to make sure that that program continues. Because the sad reality is we live in a society where a lot of times the majority of people we see around us are the ones that are healthy. And it's easy for us to, you know, overlook the challenges other students, you know, face who are born, you know, that way. They did not choose to. They are born and they are just like as precious, as beautiful as them. They are so smart. And I appreciate how the district actually is putting resources into that. And the school board actually is working with the district, is actually working with the programs, with the directors, is working with the stakeholders to make sure that the special ed programs are not placed in the back burner. And I am looking forward to actually even pushing more in learning more about it and figuring out even better ways to make it better. Because I know it is good right now, but there is always something to be done to make things better.
Thank you. In your last response, you mentioned the COVID-19 crisis, and I would just like to give you an opportunity. We won't go into necessarily specifics, but just your general thoughts on how you would have approached this had you been a member of the school board, and you'll likely be dealing with it if you're elected in November.
Absolutely. You know, this is an amazing challenge that we have been facing 2020. But at the same time, also, in a way, you know, it has taught us so much. With the COVID, personally, how would I have gone about it? I would not have changed anything that's been done thus far. One, the school board members working hand in hand with the superintendent, and all all the two working with the health department. I mean, consulting the specialist, those who actually know what goes on, those who actually, you know, that's their field in public health, in treatments, and the list goes on and on. And so now, uh, I do not see this as like, okay, if I'm a school board member, you know, just with the other school board members and the superintendent, we're going to sit down and just like, okay, this is what we're going to do and move on. No, that's not it. During the pandemic time, I look at it for the safety of students, teachers, staff, and families. These are all connected. Students, they have families. Teachers have families. Staff have families. And school hosts everyone in there that has families. And if we were to put the lives of these people in jeopardy for a purpose of reaching some political gain, then that is not fair. That is not right. We trust in science, and as long as there is science bias, I am 100% certain that we will be able to find a path in the long run. The metrics that are used, yes, they are challenging. Yes, they are hard, but it's better to be safe than us regretting it. I mean, it'll be easy to open schools, yeah? But then if everyone goes into school and it takes one person, and then we will see all the schools being closed. We do not want that. We do not want to take one step forward and two step backwards, but instead we want to go forward all the way on. And I know the school district right now, they are working tirelessly in finding ways and when to open. And I wish I am sitting out there at that table and being involved. But I'm also anxiously waiting comes November, if I were to be elected, to be a member of that body group who will be involved in changing history as we go. Because one day, everything here that we are doing now, it's going to go in the history books. Our children, our grandchildren will be looking back, referencing to that history book to take care of challenges they'll face in the future. And we learned a lot. Are we doing it perfectly? Absolutely not. Are we doing better than when we started in March? Absolutely, yes. And can we do better? Absolutely. But one thing though, I personally, that really has, a wake-up call for me is when I look at the marginalized communities and the virtual learning. I know the district right now has done an amazing job in finding locations where they can have the broadbands, providing computers, and the list goes on and on. These are good for now, but we need long-term solutions. We are not just going to keep patching, because in the future, if something like this is to happen, we owe it to the community on the west side, the same way we've owed it to the community on the east side, that we make sure that they have exact similar opportunities when it comes to readiness for any emergency event. that will affect the closures of school.
Thank you. I lost my place. Just one. The next thing, we've talked about a lot of different issues tonight. And the last question that I have prepared for you before we get into our final couple of questions is, I'd like to give you an opportunity to just frame what the most important issue for your campaign is, and kind of what is your message to voters as to why they should support you.
Okay. To all of you voters right now, I wish I could just be out there and just like be right in front of you and just tell you, ask you one question. Is there equitable education in our system? Do you see some equity in there? And I am very certain that COVID has actually exposed that even more. This is something that's been going on for a long time. This is a worldwide phenomenon when it comes to equity. However, it is very hard to even believe that it is this bad in such a rich country. A country where like people from all over the world, they come so that they can learn in this country, get degrees so that they can go and do better for their lives. A country where like we have one of the most advanced technologies, and yet still we do see equity problem. I am running for equity. Why am I running for equity? Because I am very tired of continuing to see that barrier separating West and East, privileged and less privileged communities. It's not fair. It is not right. And we have all the resources to make sure that this is taken care of. It is time that we step out there and we stand in front of those politicians who are in charge and bring them straight in front of the cameras and have them actually be exposed for what they are doing to make sure that this equity issue is taken care of. They are the ones who are controlling the budget. They are the ones who have the keys to solutions of the city. They are the ones actually who have the access to allowing businesses to come to this state. They are the ones who actually adjust what the taxes are gonna be, what the where the road is gonna be, what kind of streets, which streets are we gonna pave, where are we gonna plant trees? They are the ones who are doing that. And it is time that we have someone out there who will actually, not be politically correct, but be a human being. Be a human being who once lived in those areas, who once experienced those challenges of equity, who once dealt with the challenges those neighborhoods are dealing with. And not only that, enough is enough. Really, enough is enough. We should not. This is a democratic country. This is the United States of America, for heaven's sake. This is the United States of America. We've sent a robot to Mars, and yet we are still dealing with equity issue in our state. Enough is enough. And being out there, I'm gonna put my neck forward to make sure that this is brought forward and make sure that things are being taken care of. And I'm hoping, if I were to find one thing at the end of my term, is if I could just see one little thing corrected in the equity issue, I think we're gonna be heading in the right direction. You want someone who is not afraid to speak their minds. You want someone who's gonna be standing in there and not be politically correct, but bring people to reality. You want someone who is just not focusing on policies, but bringing the reality, the problems that are out there to surface and find a way to deal with them. This is why I am running. This is why I hope that I earn your support. I really hope. I am not, a politician. This is my first time running for an office. And I am going at it with a full heart and passion. And I really hope I earn your vote and your support.
Thank you. For folks that are looking for more information on you, what is your website and how can they find out more information?
Okay, so you can go into my Facebook page. It is Mohamed for Salt Lake City School Board. And that's the Facebook page. And that one, please, if you can go ahead, like and share, that would be sincerely appreciated. Out there you will see every answer to any questions you have. Also, you can go into the Instagram. You will see in there an Instagram page link, and that's Mo for School Board. And there you will be able to see some posts of photos and so that we have going on. And also you can go into my website that is still under construction. I promise it'll be ready sometime soon. It's www.mohamedbaayd.com. And that's the website. Actually, we're hoping to get it published this week. And, feel free to reach out to me, please. My email is moforschoolboard@gmail.com. And if you have any questions, I will be more than delighted and happy to answer them to the best of my ability.
Thank you. The last question that I have for you tonight is, was there an issue that I should have brought up or a question I should have asked that I didn't?
One issue, unfortunately, that we are dealing with right now globally, and especially here also in the Salt Lake Valley, and that is the pollution issue. Our children are being affected by the presence of pollution in our air here in Utah. And it's been going on for so long. Unfortunately, as a result of that, we have been having so many issues. I mean, it is so sad when there is like a recess time. This is a long time ago when schools were open, when it used to be like a recess time, and like it was so hard, when there was like inversion or bad air quality and kids cannot go play outside, or kids with asthma and they are affected, they can't go play outside. And or kids like with some health issues, that pertains to, that has to do with the breathing or so. It's just like, it is so hard. And I commend Mayor Erin Mendenhall for pushing her effort in making sure there are more trees planted out there. And I would love to see our schools and our families work together as well, and find ways also that we can even expand the number of trees surrounding school to double what we have right now. That is the only way for us at this point to tackle that. That is what we have right now. Have nature take care of it as we go along. So that is one of the issues that I wish it was put out there, because there is a reality we're dealing with here and globally. And I hope us as humans will get our act together and get this situated.
Well, thank you very much. I've really appreciated our time tonight. We are at the end of our hour-long conversation. I'm sure we could talk through the rest of the night, but we'll end here. And I just wanted to thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much, Turner. I really appreciate you giving me this opportunity to be here. And also, I'd like to thank everyone that submitted their questions. Please, if you have any further questions, don't be afraid to get in touch with me via the information I gave you. And also, thank you, everyone, for taking your civic duty seriously and going to vote. I beg of you to go vote, vote, vote. That's how we bring change. Thank you.
Thank you. And I just want to add on to what you said about the importance of voting. The Westview doesn't care who you vote for or how you vote. We just want you to get out and vote. And that's what
Absolutely.
of these events are. Well, thank you, Mohamed. I really appreciate your time tonight, and good luck in November.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.